There are so many different meanings to the word design. You've probably seen the term full planning and design, especially as you're shopping for planners. Most of them offer a service called full planning and design package, and it's usually their highest tier package where they sort of handle everything from top to bottom for you. But what does design really mean? Because there's obviously a few different meanings. For the purposes of what I'm talking about today, I'm going to take a definition that I had to look up on dictionary.com because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to know how to explain it. There's obviously verb definitions of design, and then there's also noun definitions of design. And for today, we're going to look at two different noun definitions of design. I am literally going to bring it because I can't memorize this. The first noun definition that's at the top is an outline, sketch, or plan as the form and structure of a work of art, an edifice or machine to be executed or constructed. The second definition says organization or structure of formal elements in a work of art, semicolon, composition. The third, actually, I wasn't going to include this, but the combination of details or features of a picture, building, etc., the pattern or motif of artistic work. I feel like those three definitions are kind of speaking a little bit about the same thing. The first one is a little bit more tangible, like where you're actually sketching or drawing out a plan or outlining a plan for something that's a work of art. The others are a little bit like just putting together these elements that make up a work of art, or there's different features that make up this work of art or something creative, or a picture, or even a building, right? So it doesn't have to be an artwork per se, but there's a lot of different things that you can think about as an art piece. And for me, I think I actually said this in another video, is your wedding is kind of an art piece because you're bringing together all these different elements, creating something that's going to emote a feeling, showcasing something about your love. So in that way, I think design is really more like creative direction, like how are you going to tell your story? Sometimes when I talk to potential clients, they're saying that they're not that creative, they need help with the design and things like that. But I think it's not really about being creative. Even if you don't consider yourself a creative person, you know yourself and you know your partner, hopefully at this time that you're ready to get married to them. And it's really just about how are you going to tell your story at your wedding, and what are some of the things that you're going to utilize to help you do that. To me, as I mentioned, design is really about the cohesive creative direction of your wedding. My job, obviously the planning part, is all the logistics, timeline, details, all of those things. But design is really using things like color, textures, and things like that to bring your vision to life. I'm not a designer, a physical designer, in the sense of I don't do graphic design and I don't do spatial design or anything like that, but I can definitely take different pieces of your ideas and help you come up with one cohesive concept that will work for the entire wedding. When you talk about design, there's kind of the obvious things that are tangible, that are easy to sort of figure out or call out, which is color palette, rentals. So like, what does my plate look like? What does my dress look like? What kind of table setup am I gonna have? What kind of flowers do I want, etc. Those are kind of obvious things, right? Like, what do I want my invite to look like? Those are sort of obvious things that you know that you have to make decisions on, elements that you definitely need for your wedding. But there's also intangible things that are a little bit less obvious, right? My question that I always ask my clients is, why do you like this venue? I always ask them why they are drawn to something or why they chose something, because it kind of helps me get to the bottom of how they want their wedding to feel. It's not just about, I want it to be black and white, I want it to be monochromatic, I want it to be sage and pink, I want it to be all white, I want it to be all red. Yes, a lot of it is about choosing these things, but what's the reason you're drawn to it? Maybe it's your personality, maybe it's your personal style, maybe it's a color that reminds you of something or from your culture, and that's why you want to use it. There's a reason behind all of these things. So even if it may seem obvious to you, sitting down and really thinking about why you're drawn to something will really help dictate everything that goes into the planning and designing of your wedding. It's also important to a lot of my couples I found. They really think about what their guests are going to love, what their guests are going to enjoy, how their family is going to be integrated, how their friends are going to feel when they're at the wedding. So I think that's another component that's really great, to be intentional about what you're providing them, the experience that you're providing them, not just like food and drinks or whatnot, but how do you want them to feel? That's another perspective to consider when you're designing your wedding. Just to give 2 short examples, a couple of my clients, I started this exercise when I was working with them. One of them, they chose Prospect Park Boathouse in New York, and it's a really beautiful landmark property. It has a little bit of a European architectural feel, and it's kind of like you're on the lakeside because it's right by this pond, and there's a little bridge overlooking it, and you're on the deck, and you kind of feel like you're in the English countryside. And they wanted it to feel romantic, elegant, a little bit whimsical, and they also wanted to just show their love of travel. And so the way they did this was, obviously their venue choice was perfect for this feeling. I'm not sure that they even knew, like these are the things that they wanted when they chose it, but that's how it ended up happening. The types of flowers, we chose really light pink and white flowers and incorporated also sage accents with their paper, as well as blue, which really ties back to water. The way the florist really like laid out the flowers, it was really, really romantic, a little bit whimsical as well. At the Prospect Park Boathouse, you can only use long tables, and for me, using long tables and a great head table, we had a really cool kind of different grand head table, made it feel really elegant, and we had these elevated sort of flower arrangements that also made it feel really grand in the space. You know, I was trying to get them to have a little bit of fun with their day of paper. So they really love to travel. I hired a graphic designer who also is an illustrator, and she created custom table numbers and a seating chart with illustrations of all their favorite places that they've visited. Those are some little touch points that you can use, and it might seem just like, oh, I like to do this and I like to do that, but at the end of the day, everything that we chose tied back to these values that they created for their wedding. Another client of mine who wanted to have a really fun, kind of nostalgic, a little bit retro, summer fun party vibes, this came to life by way of their color palette. We had a really fun, summery, sunset colors palette. Really came to life in a very white space. The venue that they chose was all white. We were able to incorporate these pops of color through the florals. We used disco balls for the ceiling treatment, in addition to just colorful fringe to really bring that ceiling to life. They also had a Polaroid photo booth, which is obviously very nostalgic. The cake that they chose kind of had a throwback feeling as well. It's like when you get at like your childhood Asian bakery. All these little things really came together. We were able to provide that fun summer party nostalgic vibe for them. I wanted to also highlight a couple of weddings that were not my clients, but that I thought really took design to the next level and really seriously. And one of them had a theme of surrealism. My friend actually attended this wedding, so it was her friend that was getting married. As you can see in this reel that I'm showing you, they asked everyone to really dress up, you know, as if you're in like a Dali painting or something like that. And so it was really, really cool to see, and they went all out with the decor and all of it. That's something that you can really, if your guests are going to be into it, then I would definitely suggest perhaps thinking of a theme, because I think it really helps everyone to have fun, and you have time to plan for a wedding, right? To plan for your outfit. So if you ask all your guests to take it seriously, I think it could be a really, really fun event and also great for pictures. So all that to say, some things to consider as you're designing your wedding day. I would start with the question, what do you want to highlight about your love story? How did you fall in love? Where did you fall in love? How has your love grown? How have your friends and family been involved in the growth of your love. I think these are all things to think about that will really help you ground yourself in how you want your wedding day to feel. Another question you can ask is, how do you want your guests to feel on your wedding day, right? Of course, everyone wants them to have a good time and all of that, but I don't know, some people might really want their guests to just be laughing the whole time, like having a really great time. Some people might want their guests to really feel emotional and connected to their love story. Some people might want their friends and family to come and just relax, and maybe it's a destination wedding. You want them to all come and have a blast on a vacation together. There's different things that you can do besides just having fun or think about that will definitely help inform the type of wedding that you want to have. And last but not least, how do you want to feel on your wedding day? What do you want to experience with your partner and your friends and family? This is the one day that you're bringing your closest people together to celebrate something so beautiful. Be intentional about what you want to do, because without that intention, it's going to be kind of difficult to figure out what to do, and it's just going to get stressful because you have so many decisions to make. But if you have this one concept or your few values in mind, it's going to really help you make decisions as they come. Because you'll have to make about, I really don't know. I should probably start counting every decision my clients have to make, but it's probably hundreds and hundreds. If anything's gonna help you make decisions easily, why not do it? I want to leave you with this one really short story. I talked to a potential client, and when they first reached out, I was like, what kind of inquiry is this? Because it didn't seem real. I spoke with them, and they're basically renting a private home for just their family, their immediate family, siblings, parents, and grandparents, and they only want to do a small ceremony for them, a dinner just for 12 of them, followed by a performance by a group that they all love. They're just going to hang out at the home and kick back, just spend time with each other, and they didn't want this whole to-do with like more than 100 people or even more than 12 people. And I thought it was so refreshing to hear and to learn about that story, because everyone always just wants this really big party. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good party, but I loved the intention behind it and how they just wanted it to be so intimate and special for their most beloved family. I thought that was really beautiful, and I'm hoping that I get to work on that wedding. It's next summer in whatever way, form that I can help them. I just loved that story and the intention behind that. I really hope you've been enjoying my content. It's been pretty much a year since I posted my first video. It's been almost 1 year, and I am really proud of myself for just continuing to keep going. This is my 31st video. Next week, I'm going to be talking about my ideal wedding client, and I think that would be a fun one to do, just my perspective on what type of clients I want to work with. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please hit that subscribe button. It would really help my journey. I am really excited that you are here and that you made it to the end of today, and I really hope that this video gave you a little bit of an idea of what to think about when you're designing your wedding.